Hi, I'm Amy. I'm really bad at making videos, so you'll have to excuse me. I'm gonna say and like a lot probably. So basically, I came across this blog today while I was at work now, and I kind of had to make a video for it. Um, Pretty much, I've been bullied my whole life up until now. Um, I was born in the United Kingdom, Newcastle, England specifically, and I started school when I was young, about 4, and this was kind of difficult for me in a lot of ways, not just because I was younger than the other kids, but also because I was a lot smaller. And I mean, I still am to this day, but I was always like a really tiny kid, and I was never very athletic either. And a lot of the other kids that I knew that were in my class were very athletic. And I struggled with this, and I was made fun of for my name, um, for being little, for not liking doing sports. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I've never found it easy to socialize. I'm very awkward. And this was a problem. Eventually, I went to middle school, because in England we go to middle school when we're about 9 years old. And I started middle school at the school that my parents kind of fought to get me into, that was meant to be like kind of like the school where like the smarter kids go. So I was under the impression that I was going to have a much easier time. And like I didn't at all. I made friends with this one other girl, and we were both instantly kind of targeted for being different. We were made fun of. She was very tall, and I was very little. And yeah, we were just made fun of. Neither of us were really into like going outside or like playing with like the other kids or like any of the stuff they were into. So, and we were both kind of like, now I don't see it as a bad thing, but then we were both very socially awkward. And a lot of kids saw this as an opportunity to be really, really cruel. I was called so many names. Um, it really hurt, and I still think about that, and I had a miserable time. And then eventually I relocated completely to California when my mom moved me there, because she met my stepdad. Um, I didn't fit in at all. At first, it was kind of a novelty for the other kids having like an English girl in my class. My accent was a lot stronger then than it is now, and people would ask me to say stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, you must know Harry Potter," like all this stuff like that, and they would kind of think it was really cool at first. And I was like, at first, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is good. Like, I feel like I found somewhere that I'm accepted," and I was so wrong. Um, when they realized that I was kind of socially awkward and stuff, they instantly kind of saw me as different and chose to pick on me. And not to mention that I was not at all like, I didn't really look like anyone else. I'm incredibly pale. I didn't really fit into that. Like, and when I hit middle school, that was probably the worst of the bullying that I've ever seen. Um, I was I became friends with a couple of girls there, like in the first couple of weeks, and that was nice. And then they kind of turned on me for no reason other than I've always kind of dressed how I wanted to dress, and I guess that paid off because now I'm in school for fashion design. But I would wear short skirts, and I would just wear whatever the fuck I wanted. And pretty much most of them, their parents still dressed them. They were taught that it was not ladylike to dress a certain way, and they called me a slut. And they spread rumors about me, and this group of girls just turned on me all of a sudden, and it was really, really painful for me. And of course, like, I was 11 at the time, and when you're 11, it's such an awkward age anyway. And I didn't even know what a slut was. That was really how it became indoctrinated into my vocabulary. And because these girls decided that I was one day, despite being 11 years old. And yeah, so that hurt me. And I remember I looked it up in the dictionary, and I was like, well, I'm 11. I don't really even know how sex works. So how am I meant to be a slut? And it was true. Like, it's stupid. But and looking back, I can see that. But at the time, it was like the worst thing in the world to be called a slut. Um, I felt like I was a disappointment or something. And now I see that that's not the right way to feel, and that no one has the right to judge you for whatever you wear, what you do, and it's stupid. And that as girls, we shouldn't be hitting on each other like that. Um, anyway, like, I had a really rough time in middle school. I was also dealing with my depression, anxiety issues. Um, I started cutting myself. It was like it was really the first time that I'd really become like introduced to that. Like, I think I read about it in a magazine or something, and I'm like, I'm gonna try this to see if I can get some of my feelings out. Um, anyway, time went on, and my family decided to relocate again to Boston this time. And it, at this point, like, I was really not dealing with it well, and like, I was cutting myself just a lot, and I ended up in a psych ward. I was taken to the emergency room because I had a bad reaction to some pills that I was put on, and they were like, okay, this girl needs a week in the children's psychiatric ward. So I spent a week there, and it was one of the most horrible weeks of my life, and I just don't really want to think about it, but it's kind of one of the things you have to think about. Because it's a part of me and who I am right now. And it reminds me I really don't want to go back there. Anyway, when I moved to Boston, I started middle school there, and it was like a middle school / high school. And I became friends with some girls there, and one in particular who I'm fine with now, and who, I even speak to her, that we really didn't get along, and I think to some extent we were pretty cruel to each other, which looking back was not right. But I was kind of continuously like, it was a lot better than it was in like my school in California in middle school. I was never overtly called a slut or anything, but there was a lot of people who spoke at me behind my back, a lot of mean rumors. I remember that one girl said she was going to go with me for Halloween. That was mean. It sucked, and I don't know. I guess like I graduated and stuff got a bit easier. I moved to Chicago for school, and I kind of met some people who were more like me and some who weren't all. And I still deal with mean people, and I still deal with, people who want to like take me down and who dislike me for no reason. Except, like there's a couple girls who dislike me because I dated a guy that they once dated or something like that, which is petty and stupid and not my problem, quite frankly. And I just feel it's really pathetic, and that it's hard enough being a woman in this world where you're constantly held up to these standards. Don't be a slut, don't be a prude. So, but then when you get that from other women as well, and when you're criticizing each other, it's not right. Like, we shouldn't be making it harder for each other. We should be supporting each other. And that's not what we're doing. So that kind of ends my rant / story. I hope that can give someone some hope. Yeah, that's pretty much it.